Lewis Hamilton walked into Ferrari and caused a political crisis over a brake disc. Not a diffuser, not a suspension geometry, not a billion-dollar engine upgrade. A brake disc. And Ferrari hated it. Because the disc he was demanding did not come from their partner. It came from the same supplier he used to destroy them with at Mercedes. This is the technical story other channels are not telling. If you want this level of breakdown every single race weekend, subscribe to F1 today. That is exactly what we do here. Here is what you need to know. Hamilton arrived at Ferrari in 2025 with one of the most recognizable driving styles in Formula One history. He brakes later than almost anyone else on the grid. He holds his speed into the corner longer. Then he stops the car in a shorter distance. And at the moment he hits the brakes, he needs to feel an instant, powerful response from the pedal. The question this video is going to answer is simple. Why does that one feeling make him so much faster? And why did Ferrari resist giving it to him? If you want the full Austrian GP breakdown the moment it drops this weekend, subscribe. That is exactly what I am covering tomorrow. What Ferrari were actually running and why it broke Hamilton. Ferrari have used Brembo as their brake supplier for more than 50 years. Brembo's products are progressive. They build braking force gradually through the pedal stroke. They are consistent across temperatures. They work in the cold, they work in the heat, and they are durable across a full race distance. For most drivers, that progression is a feature. For Hamilton, it was a problem. But here is what nobody is saying yet. Hamilton's driving style requires something the opposite of progressive. When he hits the brake pedal, he needs an immediate, sharp bite, what engineers call a very strong initial grip threshold. Carbon Industry, the French brake disc manufacturer he used throughout his Mercedes championship years, provides exactly that. Their discs reach peak grip at high temperatures, very fast, with an almost aggressive initial response. The contrast is not subtle. It is the difference between a light switch and a dimmer switch. Hamilton wants a light switch, and Ferrari told him no. According to Motorsport magazine, Hamilton caused ructions throughout Maranello when he pushed for the change before the 2026 season. The political problem was real. Brembo is not just a supplier, they are a commercial and technical partner. You do not just switch them out. But Hamilton would not back down. The moment Fred Vasseur changed everything. Fred Vasseur, Ferrari team principal, made a decision that went against 50 years of Ferrari habit. He approved the switch. Hamilton has been running Carbon Industry brake discs since the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, not on Leclerc's side of the garage, just his. And this is where the story turns completely. Because the switch did not just help Hamilton feel more comfortable, it unlocked something specific to how the 2026 regulations are written. Here is why this matters more than it sounds. But that was just the start. Why the 2026 rules were built for this exact style. Payoff. The 2026 technical regulations removed the MGU-H, the heat energy recovery system that helped manage brake temperatures in the previous hybrid era. They replaced it with a massively boosted MGU-K, the electric motor that now produces up to 350 kilowatts of power deployment on straights. What that means for braking is critical. In 2025, cars used 3 systems at the rear axle to slow down: mechanical brake discs, engine braking from the combustion engine, and regenerative braking from the electric motor. All 3 work together, managed by a brake-by-wire system. The discs stayed warm because they were always doing meaningful work. In 2026, the electric harvesting is so aggressive that the mechanical discs are doing far less work, which means they run colder. Cold brakes are unpredictable brakes. For Brembo's progressive discs, that cold inconsistency is a problem. That consistency advantage disappears at lower operating temperatures. For Carbon Industries' high bunk discs, the sharp initial response actually helps in cold conditions because the grip comes quickly before the disc has time to cool further. Hamilton's style is naturally suited to that dynamic. He brakes late, he brakes hard, and he needs the response to come immediately. That is exactly what the 2026 regulations reward. Nico Rosberg, the man who raced Hamilton wheel-to-wheel at Mercedes for 6 years, said this directly after Barcelona qualifying. Hamilton's return to his trademark late-braking technique was visible in the data. Barcelona was the first race weekend in 2026 where championship leader Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes 156 points, had been beaten in qualifying by a driver from a different team. That driver was Hamilton. The race result followed, his 106th career win, and the FIA confirmed on Wednesday, ahead of the Austrian Grand Prix, that Hamilton's car passed all brake inspections. Legal, clean, cleared. Now consider what Leclerc said after Monaco. "These effing brakes," broadcast to millions of viewers. He was on Brembo, Hamilton was on Carbone Industry. Same team, opposite experience. Barcelona, Leclerc switched to Hamilton's configuration. The result was better, but not perfect. The gap between the two sides of the Ferrari garage is still not fully closed. What this means for Austria and the title fight. Here is the single sentence that matters. Hamilton closing to 41 points behind Antonelli is not just about one race in Barcelona. It is about a driving style that is aligned to the regulations in a way that only gets more powerful as the season continues. Ferrari's SF26 was designed with aggressiveness as its philosophy. That is on record from technical director Loic Serra. Hamilton shaped that philosophy. And the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring this Sunday is one of the most demanding brake circuits on the calendar. If Hamilton's braking style made him fast in Barcelona, it might make him dangerous in Austria. The question is whether Antonelli can answer it, or whether we are watching the moment a 7-time champion figured out how to beat a 19-year-old. Drop your answer in the comments. Can Hamilton win in Austria? If this gave you a new angle on Hamilton's Ferrari comeback, you need to be here tomorrow. I am covering the full Austrian GP preview, Ferrari's ADU1 engine upgrade, what it does, and whether it gives Hamilton the gap he needs to take the championship lead. Subscribe. I will see you tomorrow.